Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Saturday show. Today on the show, we're talking about Christmas selling, why you need to start now if you want to move by next summer. Yes, next summer, starting at Christmas. This morning on the show, I've got Susan. Good morning, Susan.
Good morning, Perry. Good morning.
Good morning, Jim.
Hiya, how you doing? I'm not actually in Soho. I'm in Faro Airport.
Faro Airport. That'll be fun then with all the delays that are going on. I saw your queues the other day.
Yep. Don't say anything else about delays. I just want to get home.
Brilliant. So, welcome to the show, everybody. Hopefully you'll enjoy listening to what we have to say and giving you some good advice. So, Christmas selling, why you need to get ready now before you want to sell for summertime. So, we all know it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So, it's a bit soon to be talking about moving in the summer, you would think. Or is it? So usually this time of year is all about office parties. Actually, we had ours last night. It was very nice, Jim. Shame you missed out, but it was quite good. Don't know what time the young team got home. Us oldies were quite sensible, Susan, weren't we?
Yeah, we were home at a sensible time. Left them to party on. Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So as I say, it's all about Christmas parties and family gatherings and frantic last minute shopping. I know I'm going to be doing some of that today. But Christmas 22 is more than just a season to be jolly. It's also an important date if you're planning to move in the summer. And certainly around about this time of year, we see quite a lot of activity with people in regards to after Christmas Day thinking, actually, for one reason or another, the house doesn't work. Their circumstances are changing and they might want to be moving. So it's mainly because, again, also conveyancing, there's a bit of a logjam with that. It's delaying many sales by months sometimes, causing countless nail-biting moments at the end. I know a lot of changes in regards to governmental policies, etc., and that can be a bit daunting for people, make things delayed a little bit. But Rightmove recorded an average time of 150 days this year between accepting an offer and moving out. That is a massive amount of time. That's like 4 months. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. So let's say you put your home in the market today and a buyer within a month maybe realistically comes up. We're seeing at the moment on average it's taken really anything between 6 and 8 weeks to sell. So say you put it on today, you've got 6 and 8 weeks. You're then kind of really into maybe mid-February. So, you know, then you've got all your conveyancing, that 150 days I've just mentioned. So that can make a big difference to you. So between accepting your offer, as I say, and moving out, let's say you put your home today, as I said, you find your buyer within that month. A realistic moving date could really be June. That's quite scary.
That's not surprising though, because it is a conveyancing process that holds everything up. So my advice to people out there, and we're going to be talking about most of this anyway, but my advice is make sure you get all the information and the paperwork to your solicitor way beforehand, in order to get that over the line quicker, because it will hold you up. I mean, you've got title disputes as well, which might come in. Just because a small boundary would be different. So there is a huge hold up. So people actually don't think it'll take a long time. I generally get people coming to me and saying, "Take it, my house will be sold in a month." And I said, "Yeah, it'll be sold in a month." "Oh, I can't do it that quick." I went, "Well, wait a minute. You've got the solicitor process to go after that, which will take about 3 or 4 months. So yeah, you've got to put your house in the market now to think about moving in summer. That's where it is.
Totally. One of the things that and just to give some feedback on
Can
that,
I just add well here? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, even principal, I never realised expire, and a lot of people don't think about that as well. They get one from the bank or wherever they're getting a mortgage, and they've not realised that it's out of date by the time they purchase their house. So I found that recently.
Yeah, it's a big thing. We had an example actually where there was a title issue, as you say there, Jim, and we had a situation with a client actually where the house had sold previously, but it had never been picked up. But then when they were looking to sell it on, they had a title issue, and the title issue actually ended up meaning that they didn't sell in exchange for 10 months. That was massive delay for them, unexpected too.
It's not surprising, but the key here is to make sure the buyer is completely aware of what's going on, so they can manage their expectations about when they need to move into their new property. Because after all, people buy homes because it's the next dream home. They don't buy it just for the sake of buying it. It's what they see in it is the most important thing for them.
Definitely. So again, you know, just to continue on that, if you have any kind of deadline, like getting a school place, for instance. You want to maybe move to a certain catchment for your kids going to school. That catchment might be oversubscribed, so you might be relocating for work. It's essential to give yourself enough time to make all of this happen, and make sure that you've got everything in place. But don't fret, because it's Christmas. It has some unique once-a-year advantages to finding a buyer as well. So whether your home is already in the market or you're preparing to sell it soon, our show this week really is to give you some ideas of the festive season and how you can secure your home and move by summer. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So it's a season to be selling, Jim. Why is that?
Well, the days of the property market shutting down for Christmas, and I've said it, are long gone. You're only as busy or as quiet as your estate agent that you're using will be. That's what it comes down to. Now, searching for a home is just as festive as mince pies and mistletoe now. Everybody does it every single day, and they've got alerts on their phone, and it's information's available 24 hours every single time. Because of that, a lot of traditional people actually shut down for Christmas. So what happens there is they switch off, but your inquiry switch off as well, because you still need that. So even though they can see the property on the market, the inquiry process needs to be followed up. And if it's not followed up, then literally you'll sit there for 2 weeks, potentially with somebody looking to make an offer or wanting to see your house desperately in a position to proceed. And if your agent isn't active enough or I would say proactive enough, I wouldn't say reactive, I'd say proactive enough to make sure that you can actually get that inquiry dealt with and then get the viewing processed, then you could potentially miss out on that buyer. So it's essential. So if you've been gearing up to sell a new year, here's why it could be worth actually bringing forward your plans. And it is. Now, I'll tell you at this point in time, I've sold a house on Christmas Day, I've sold a house on Christmas Eve, I've sold a house on Boxing Day, I've sold a house on New Year's Day, and I've sold a house on Hogmanay. All to prove that point is you're as busy or as quiet as your agent is. That's all it comes down to. So, as I said, if you've been gearing up for this new year, here's why it's important that you could be bringing forward your plans. Visits to your property portals are hitting their annual peak in the week after Christmas Day. The Boxing Day bounce kicks in straight away. As people use their festive break to make life decisions, catch them while they're hot. Now, life decisions. Let's be honest, and this is human nature, human behaviour, and you know, it happens. But most people, when they're going to make a decision to part company, usually wait for the kids till after Christmas and New Year's over, and then that's when they go, right, now is the time to go our separate ways. A lot of people as well, equally, then decide to propose on Christmas Day. And then they start hunting to have a house together.
I know, it's nice.
And then also, a lot of people make decisions on new jobs. So remember as well, Christmas is a once-a-year opportunity to enhance your home with heartwarming seasonal touches. We'll talk about more of that later on. You can also build extra time to beat the current conveyancing delays and pave the way to complete your move for summer. So that's important as well, just like we spoke about the conveyancing process. If you are just about to put your house in the market, make sure you contact your solicitor straight away and actually get all the information to them if they need. Things like who your mortgage provider is, because then they'll need that to do the surrender value when you redeem your mortgage. They'll then order the titles up earlier, and then they'll get the ball rolling and get all the preparatory work done beforehand. So when you get that offer, it's not a case of going, I've got an offer and running about, and then the solicitor goes, why did you not tell me sooner? I could have had all this work done beforehand, so you could have got this done quicker. That's exactly the response you'll get from your solicitor when you do that. So tell them in advance that you're doing it. Now, we do this anyway automatically. As soon as you're listed on the system, it automatically sends an email to your solicitor when we tag them onto your file, and it sends them out and says, by the way, this person's just put their house on the market. You need to get in touch with them and get all the processes and get everything, get the ball rolling. The other one as well is although mortgage rises.
Sorry, okay, can I just just to make a comment on that, actually, Jim? We had a situation recently And some people, as you've constantly say this, Jim, people don't know what they don't know. But actually, we had a situation recently where we had taken an offer on a property. We sent everything over to the solicitor. The solicitor didn't even know the client was selling their house. The client just didn't even think about the fact that they had to communicate that to the solicitor. They kind of thought that's something that would happen at the end rather than something happen at the beginning. It really did delay that sale process for a good few weeks.
If you've agreed an entry date, which is actually quite quick, that could cause a problem for your buyer. And I'll tell you, and I use this phrase quite a lot, sometimes people can get bent out of shape. Do you know that Daffy Duck cartoon where he just used to go, all these funny moves? Well, kind of like that, sort of the bent out of shape thing. When people actually don't, when they get an answer they don't expect, and they get upset about it, they get bent out of shape. So the other one as well, finally, is although mortgage rates have come down since October spike, there's still further base rate rises, and it happened the other day, another half point, but it was expected. Fixed rates are expected to come down and settle in the new year potentially, because we've got more certainty now. And many buyers want to lock in deals and secure their homes now. But as you said, Susan, if you've got a mortgage in principle and it lasts 3 months, if you've not got your conveyancing process done quick enough, your mortgage in principle could disappear, and you could be on a new rate. Because some lenders will actually secure that rate for you there and then. But some lenders equally as well will actually say, okay, that's fine, that's the rate we'll give you. But when it comes to actually the final conclusion, that's the rate you're going to get. So if it does change, please bear in mind that's what you're going to get. Now, if base rate rises are on the way, you want to get this through as quick as possible so that doesn't happen. And you've got more certainty about what your outlays are going to be. You do not want to wait till last minute, realise that mortgage rates have gone up and you can no longer afford this house. And you've concluded missives, by the way, and you cannot back out legally. So there's repercussions for that. So that's why you need to do it. It's also worth mentioning that January, traditionally, when lots of homes hit the market, so you can get ahead of those sellers and avoid getting lost in that mass ocean of competition by making your home available now and just getting that. It's like the analogy we spoke about the other day, Barry, about you're on the start line in January when you decide to put your house in the market. Okay, I'm on the start line of a race. You're on the start line in January. But just so happens somebody else has done the preparatory work now, right now, even between the Christmas and New Year period. They've got all their photographs done, they've got their home report done, they've got their description done, they've managed to get their videographer, like somebody like me, a walkthrough, to do it on a sunny day because we've been given enough notice and we've been able to get the best days to do that. So by the time you've started you're standing on the start line ready to go in January, I'm running past you. And you're too late. I'm way ahead of you now. I'm way ahead of the crowd for that very reason. And that's where you want to be as a seller. You want to put yourself in that comfortable situation. That doesn't mean to say you're going to sell your house quicker, but what it does mean, it gives you more time to be less stressed about the process. Because if somebody jumps in straight away, even though they jump in straight, oh, what happens if my house sells so quick? That's what people think. It might not, because of the current market, because it does take about, on average, 2 months now to sell a house, because of the amount of supply on the market. But what happens if my house sells so quick is usually the question we get quite a lot, and it's like, that's fine. All we need to do is manage the buyer. In other words, if you don't have a house to go to, because this is usually the next question, I don't have a house to go to, that's the real reason that you don't want your house to sell so quick. And that's fine. So what you do is you make sure you manage the expectations of the buyer when they inquire. So when they inquire with you, you just say, look, what sort of entry date are you looking for? Oh, I'm looking for something within the next 6 months because I really need something because I've got to be out of my place. Well, I'm sorry, but there's no way you're going to get this house in the next 6 weeks. The next 6 weeks. There's no way you're going to get this house in the next 6 weeks because our seller has not got their next house yet. Therefore, it's unlikely they're going to agree to an entry date, which is 6 weeks, unless your offer is going to be absolutely out of this world. That's probably the only reason they'll consider that. But I'll take it to them and see what their thoughts are. And then that's that process you can get from there. So you can manage the expectations of the buyers when they inquire and also when they're actually on the viewing and also when they decide to make an offer. So there's no surprises up front, because classic example is Buyer comes along, their expectations, they want to move in 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody discusses this with them. They go round the seller's house. The seller's expectations have not got anywhere else to go yet, so I'll have to take a longer entry date. Still no one's discussed it. And then they make them a fantastic offer and then say, but I want it in 6 weeks. And then the seller goes, well, I can't do that. I'm sorry, it's no happening. And then you think to yourself, wait a minute, I've wasted the buyer's time, I've wasted the seller's time, and I've wasted our time. Everybody's time's completely wasted if we'd just qualified that process in the beginning and managed everybody's expectations to see if that could happen before we started the journey.
Mm-hmm. Really important point you're making there, Jim, actually, and we have experienced that quite frequently. I mean, one of the big multiple occasions where that happened was with the new builds in St Monans, where we were managing expectations there because there was the constant delays in those builds because of supplies, wasn't there? So again, it was about managing the expectations of the buyers there. But we do that, and we have a situation just now with a sale that offer was accepted 2 months ago. The intended move date's not until August next year. So as long as everyone is aware of it at the beginning, it does save on a lot of pain points going along the journey. But also, as you say, it saves all of that initial time as well, because then your seller's not getting excited thinking that they're getting a great offer that actually won't then happen because your buyer doesn't appreciate actually the situation. And it kind of causes a bit of a rift as well within the relationship too, doesn't it? So it's about making sure that everything is really qualified at the beginning.
Absolutely.
So, Susan, what else is there? So,
Communication here, isn't it? Okay, so launching or relaunching on Boxing Day. Okay, so visitor numbers to a property portal like Rightmove that we use and Zoopla, so they go through the roof on Boxing Day and in the new year. It's because a lot of they're sitting at home, we're on holiday, and that's what we were on, so we do a research. So whether you're starting to sell or you want to switch to a new agent or simply change your price, you've got the opportunity to reach your biggest audience by doing it at that time of year. So it's quite good to get yourself organised, up and ready. Let's start for the start of the year. So the buyer demand on Rightmove, okay, so for 2021, over that Christmas period, it was up by 23% on 2020's numbers. Now that's amazing. So what do you think about that then? What's your thoughts?
Certainly that's what we see, Jim, don't we? We call it the Boxing Day bounce. And there's many reasons why people do that. And Jim kind of mentioned it earlier on there in regards to the fact that people have had either a really happy Christmas because things in their lives are going well and they've decided that they're moving, or maybe something has not quite worked, or actually people are quite sensible, and some people might understand and appreciate the information that we're sharing already, and so they know that that's a really good time just to get themselves off the starting block anyway and get ready. We've got 2 clients actually this week that have decided to do that, and we're getting photos and videos and descriptions and everything done next week because they have taken on board the fact that actually people are off for 2 weeks, near enough. Everything shuts down, so it's a great time if you're looking to get the activity and get ahead of the game and go out there and view properties. You can, and so the initial way of doing that, as Jim will always say, everything happens on this. So people just go crazy on the phones, don't they, Jim?
Yep, absolutely. And then retargeting campaigns on social media actually give you a golden opportunity to actually get in front of people.
Sorry, I think we had a bit of a
right, guys.
I'll
have to go just now. Okay, so I'll need to get my flight. So I'll see you later. Okay. Bye-bye for now.
Okay. Bye. Safe trip.
Bye. I'm saying that at that time of year too, Perry, you've got families that work really hard throughout the year. This is the time they sit down and make life-changing decisions, isn't it? They've not got the time during the year to sit down, have a chat where they want to go in the start of the year. It's a way of starting a fresh new year, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well when we talk about the kind of absolutely. I think that same as well. You're talking about the kind of relaunching on Boxing Day. It doesn't mean filling your Christmas break with viewings, but it does mean reaching the year's biggest audience, so you can gather inquiries and generate a bit of excitement around your property as well.
That's right. So it's basically if your home is all ready for sale and your viewings have dried up, okay, it's time to make a fresh start at the new year and get all shiny and get a new listing done, so that then you get right back to the top of the search again, which is really something that you're aiming to do.
Definitely, and I think for people as well who are getting themselves. Oh, we've got a wee bit of delay there, Susan, sorry. But yeah, for people who are looking to move, I think it's a really good time to plan it. And if you don't want to launch or relaunch your home on Boxing Day, you've still got enough time just to contact us, you know, and we can have a discussion with yourselves. Feel free to do that. The links are going to be in the show as well about how you can reach us. But, you know, you can start to get everything ready now. We're always available. We're kind of 24/7, even though the office isn't open. So feel free to reach out to us. But one of the other ways as well is kind of making your house look nice. So, you know, decking your halls with a bit of Scandi style is a good thing as well. So when you're done with Christmas, your Christmas decorations can make your home even more saleable, actually. I'm going to be doing mine today. I'm a bit late this year, actually. But getting yourself ready is a massive thing. Yeah, well, I'm not so great, Susan. I've been a bit late this year, but the Scandinavians have definitely mastered this as well, though. You know, they pared down their hoogie styles, and they've got all their woods, and we need to take a leaf out of their book a little bit and create an irresistible coziness that highlights your home's finer features. And I think that that's what people want to see. So, what kind of features would you be highlighting, Susan? What's your thoughts on that?
Right, okay, so if you're going to put a Christmas tree up, it's lovely to have a nice Christmas tree up, but try no take over the whole living area with it. Let's put a smaller one up, minimalise it. You want the tree, but you didn't want something overtaking your room, do you? Because you want to actually show the floor space in that room. So you want to show the wealth how big it is, that room, don't you? Because you're trying to sell your property. So having this big tree and making your room look small, that's not the best way to do it. So basically, have the tree and stick to basic colours. You don't have to have it like all multicoloured. So try your greens, your whites, your golds. Let's have it nice, plain, sort of no too in your face. Because you're trying to show the room and not just the Christmas tree, if you get what I mean. Try the side of the room. Yeah. Also, another thing that I would consider is don't have Christmas cards everywhere. Try and keep them to either a wee unit or just one wee wall space or a wee door space. Have a wee hanging. Don't have them everywhere in the room. Try to keep it decluttered, if you like. You know, have it on
I think that's
something, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Susan. I mean, I have that issue when we all do, don't we? You open the envelopes, you read the cards, and think, "Oh, that's lovely," and then you stand there, kind of holding it, and you're like, "Right, where am I going to put it?"
I know. And then you can have them everywhere. You're trying to show the room, but you're trying to show that you're in the Christmas. You've got your cards and that displayed because it's a difficult time in selling your house. We all know that. Because you're trying to keep your house clean, you're trying to keep your viewings up, you're trying to keep everybody happy, and you're trying to sell a property. So, but you're living there too sometimes. So you have to. There's a balance, isn't there?
Definitely. And I think as well, that's one of the things that the Danish niche figures are really nice for that. And, you know, they're quite timeless in regards to your decorations as well. So we all like decorations, but you want to have the kind of wholesome seasonal spirit that, again, makes it look like Christmas because you want to display that your home is a home and that it's lived in, but without going overboard with it. You know, you might want to do away with the inflatable Santas this year, for instance, if you're selling.
I seen a few of them last night on our night out.
We certainly did. Yeah. But I think warm white fairy lights are a good thing as well. You don't want to go too bright with your lights, but I think warm fairy lights are really nice. They've kind of got that magical feeling about them as well. So that's a nice thing to have around the home, but not overdoing it. Filling up glass vases. This is definitely up our street, this bit, Susan. We're doing all the decor and the fun stuff. Jim left at the right time.
Yeah. But yeah, I know because you can have some nice. You can have some nice over lights over your fireplace and things like that. If you.
I like it as well when you've got like the glass vases as well, and you've got the nice lights in the vases. That looks fantastic. I really like that. And strung lights over the fireplace are quite nice as well. I think that's a nice thing. They're good for brightening up dark corners as well. So that's really important as well, because you don't want people kind of looking in the rooms and thinking that they're dark. So nice to kind of brighten them up and make them feel warm and cozy. But minimise the overhead decorations. That's never a good thing, because actually what you're then doing is making the room look a bit cluttered and makes it look much, much smaller as well if you've got things hanging from the ceilings. So definitely don't be doing that. It's more about what you're putting on the walls and on your furnishings. Although it's minimalistic and nice, you don't want to overdo it.
Yeah, it's basically letting people see that room and see the size of that room, isn't it? But it's nice to let them see that you've got a nice Christmas atmosphere as well. It looks lovely.
Definitely. So
Yeah.
final thing to remember as well on that is when your viewings are happening at this time of year as well, it's pretty dark. I mean, even this morning, it was about 8:30 here before it got light. So, and then in the evenings, you're really into kind of mid-afternoon, you're getting to the really 3 o'clock time-ish, and it's not so great. So again, it's about making sure that you try and do it in the daylight. But if your viewing does have to happen in the dark, because we are at winter at the end of the day, take a little bit of time just to make sure that you've got all your lights on and that your decorations are nice. But we do have a blog that we did previously as well about evening viewings, and again the link will be on the post, so feel free to kind of dip into that if you're watching the show later on, and that'll give you some ideas about how to create that perfect atmosphere and get some nice lighting there, because it's not always practical for people to view during the day because people have got commitments and jobs and working and what have you, and even through the holiday season people will still be working. So if they see your house and they want to buy it, we do need to try to accommodate the viewings. But nice tips on that article about how you can go about making your property nice. So setting the scene for winter drive-bys as well. People forget that people are getting drive-bys too. So what would be your thoughts on that, Susan?
Oh, I know, because I've heard a couple of people this week's actually said to me they're going to have drive-bys now. We couldn't do much yesterday for the weather. So there was a certain lady that said to me, it's okay, I'll just do a drive-by, I'm close by, I'm just going to drive by. Nobody knows, if you're selling your house, you don't know who's coming past and what they're coming past for. They could be just passing traffic, but always think that could be your buyer. So it's a case of basically having your house ready for that. So things that I would be doing is making sure that I've got the curb appeal. You want to have your front door area really ready for anybody coming past. Even when they see the sign up, they know the house is for sale, and you'll get a lot of attention, won't you? You'll get a lot of people coming past and having a look. So
you do, but I think as well, even if the buyers don't come to view until after the new year, many of them probably have already hopped in their car, as you say, Susan, during the holidays, and they're driving around to look at the homes from the outside because they want a feel for what it's like outside. Obviously, they've seen some of the pictures with us, they'll have seen their video, a lot of what's inside, but a lot of people want to see what's on the outside. They want to see where the location of the property is within the area that they're looking at. They want to see perhaps even what the neighbouring properties are like. They want to see the outside activity that's going on.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for you as a seller as well to give them something to remember your home with, and some of your tasteful seasonal touches that we're talking about. So seasonal charm is what people are kind of looking for as well, and it's that curb appeal, as you said, Susan, isn't it?
Oh yeah, they're not wanting to come past and see a massive, gigantic Santa Claus in the front garden. Eh? You want something tasteful. I mean, a nice little wreath on your front door. They're quite charming, aren't they? So you'll come past, and it's kind of as well when you see that. So another thing too is, if somebody's coming on a drive-by, they're looking at your property, I think they want to see what your roof and your guttering looks like as well. They want to make sure it's well maintained. So it's a case of try where possible. Yeah, you can have your lights out, but try not cover the parts that you want to see if we were the buyer. That's kind of important.
Definitely, you don't want to be you don't want to obscure the views. Yeah, you're right. You don't want to be obscuring all the views, and you know, having big Santas climbing up chimneys and things like that are not always a great idea. Although they're great for kids, it's not great if you're selling your house. But I think classic warm white fairy lights, as we mentioned earlier, they're always magical and they're quite nice. You can put them in your tree branches. I'm seeing that a lot in our street just now. People have kind of decorated the trees that are in their garden rather than putting new ones in, which I think is a nice thing. You can spread them among your plants, along your walls, and it does look quite nice and warming and welcoming, Susan, doesn't it?
It really does. Even at your floor, having a wee porch lamp on, with your wreath at the front door, just a wee there, because you get lovely baskets at the moment. Even that sitting at your front, that looks lovely.
Definitely. I think as well, for me, I've done quite a lot in regards to lighting. So you see now quite a lot as well in the walkways of the Scandinavian style, you know, the LED lamp sticks that you get. They're quite nice along the walkways and your pathways as well, and definitely benefited from them this week with all that snow and ice that we've had as well, which was kind of covering up all the beautiful parts of your garden. So it was kind of nice to display that. Although having said that, my bird baths and bird feeders and everything, they looked fantastic in the snow. That was quite a nice kind of winter wonderland look. So hopefully people like that.
They certainly did, actually. Yeah, they look nice in the winter, don't they, with the snow? Your garden looked amazing, actually. And that's just like, if you've got a nice lawn in the front, even a couple of LED lights on the grass on the lawn, it looks quite nice, quite tasteful. Just brightens the garden up. It looks quite welcoming.
Definitely. It kind of gives the lawn a bit of a Yuletide twinkle, doesn't it? It's always quite nice and warming and appealing for people going by. So now the front of your home looks irresistibly inviting. Why not continue that magic into your garden or your balconies? You know, it's not everybody that will have a big garden area, but you know, some people, you can really decorate balconies and courtyards and make them beautiful as well. We actually did a winter garden blog as well. So again, the link will be on this if you want to have a wee look, and you can get some feelings for that. But there's lovely ways that you can do that with tasteful, as you say, pots and lights, Susan, and make it look nice if you've got like a little balcony or courtyard.
Definitely. Yep. It's just basically sharing the local festive spirit, isn't it?
Definitely.
So
I think that's one of the things. No, on you go.
Yes. So every buyer's decision when they're choosing a home. Yep. It's a case of if you can talk to your agent about highlighting your neighbourhood's atmosphere at this time of year within your property. Trying to get your photographs and your description to highlight a bit about your area when they're actually posting these on for you. So what's your thoughts on that then, Perry? How could we do that?
I think it's really important, actually. It's one of the things that we also do when we're doing the viewing. So it's not just about highlighting it in the descriptions or the videos or anything like that. It's more about your agent as well. If your agent's doing the viewings, it's really important that your agent understands what's going on around about that village, town, that street. And I'm not just talking like knowing where the schools and that are. It's about the activities. You know, finding out from the buyer what they kind of like and what their lifestyle is, and really trying to promote around the area the things that they can enjoy within that lifestyle. Because actually it's not just the house that they're buying, it's a lifestyle that they're buying. They're moving to that property for not just the property, it's everything surrounding the property as well, and what it can bring to them as a person or a family, as a couple. It's the things that you do out with your working time and your living at home time, isn't it?
Oh, certainly, yeah. Example of that is something that the adults can enjoy as well as the kids, because it's always about the kids usually when you move to a house. But you want to highlight if there's something yet for you to do enjoy as well. I mean, that's the purpose of your move. You're moving home, it's your neighbourhood, it's everything else that's surrounding. So, for example, I'd like to know, is there a nice restaurant for eating? I kind of like old country places, so something with a log fire. That's my kind of thing. So if they have that, highlight it, let people know about it, because everybody likes something different. There's something for everybody. And of course, the buyer will have looked into that area before they've went there, so there's a reason why they want to move there. But you can help them along by telling them, right, we'll have that. There's a community that does this. So yeah, it's just about trying imagination. You're trying to sell something to someone, so opening up their imagination to things that there is there for them to go outside the house.
Yeah, it's like Jim said as well, though, at the beginning, it's like it's their dream home. So it's everything in their minds that they are wishing for is coming with that house. So it's really about understanding that. And you make a good point there about things that are going on in the local community. I had that situation even 2 weeks ago when I was doing a viewing on a Saturday, and the church across the road, they had their opening Christmas fete that day. And the viewer was kind of enjoying looking around the house, and we were standing outside, we were having a little chat, and I said, you know, do you know the area well? I was telling them about what was in the local area that they could benefit from. And I says, oh, and by the way, it says the church just across the road, they've got their Christmas fete opening today. And they were like, oh, that sounds lovely, that sounds lovely, and that was fine. So then later on, I went over to the church to do a community video about it, just so that other people could see that it was on and perhaps get some more foot traffic along for the event to promote the event. And actually, I bumped into the viewers. They'd actually gone across and were buying some nice knickknacks. So that was great.
Definitely. If it makes them think about the property, the area, your neighbourhood's important, because it's the biggest purchase that you're going to do is buying a house, and it's the biggest decision when you're going to move. So it's not just always about the house, it's about what's going on round about you, isn't it?
Definitely. And I think at this time of year as well, we're doing the kind of something for the weekend show on a Friday, and that is about promoting what's going on in local communities. But again, around that house as well, it's like, what local events are taking place, you know, at this time of year particularly. You're looking at maybe carol concerts, Christmas plays and pantos, etc. So again, it's about promoting those as well to the individuals, so that they can actually envisage themselves living there, having a life there, having social interaction there, meeting new friends because they might be out of area. So it's a nice way to kind of introduce all of that. Certainly here as well, there's quite a lot of activity wise. We're blessed living in East Neuk as well, but you know, we've got the ice rink in Kirkcaldy, so you know, if somebody was interested in that type of thing, it's making sure that they know about that. We've got all the markets that we do, you know, there's the Boathouse one along the coast, and there's lots of Christmas markets that are going on locally this weekend as well. Light trails, again, if you go to Silverburn Park, they've got so many activities on in that, the Window Cafe. So you know, it's a freezing cold day like it is today, and you're maybe taking the dog or the kids out for a wee walk along the park. It's great to go along there. They're doing like hot chocolate and marshmallows and cakes and scones and all that kind of thing. So again, it's about people thinking that's a nice thing to do, isn't it? Taking the dog and the kids for a walk. It's cold, getting a nice chocolate drink, walking around. It just feels magical, doesn't it?
It certainly does, and it's really kind of good if you've got photos and so on of activities that you've taken part in, or a lot of people like Christmas Day, Boxing Day, they jump in, they see the Looney Duke or something?
The Looney Duke, yeah,
like that. If something special like that, but the Looney Duke, yeah. Even have a wee photo album with kind of nice photos and say, I participated in this. This is what happened in the neighbourhood. We all got involved, and show some photographs. Have a wee. It doesn't have to be a book that they're going to sit and go through and spend lots of time. Just a couple of photographs to say, oh, we participated in that. This is an event that goes every year. That's kind of interesting as well for the person, just to see that the community comes together.
I think it is really important what you're saying there. Is because it is a big purchase and people do spend a lot of time at home. And I was actually at a property the other day that we're currently bringing to market, and it's quite an old property. There's been lots of uses within the home, lots of history within the home, and it was really nice actually. Right in the entrance to the property, they had a photo frame, and it was the story of the house and all the ages that the house had been there. And it was really, really nice. I'd never seen anything like that before, and it was lovely. And then coincidentally, actually, I was at another property last week, and right down at the bottom, almost like where your double sockets would be for your power, for your plug points, it was like a little photo frame, and it was so odd. I couldn't work out what it was. And actually what it was is the owner, when they moved in and they were decorating and they'd been scraping the wallpaper off, and underneath it there was someone's name and signature and the date, and it was 1927. So what the owner did, rather than paint over it, I know, so they were actually taking the paper off to paint over the walls, and rather than paint over that part of the wall, they actually left the original part of the wall with the person's name and signature, and put a little photo frame around it, so it was almost like a picture.
Oh, that's brilliant. That just reminds me of another house that we viewed actually, in the kitchen. They had the original in the kitchen. I just thought that was brilliant, leaving that there. It was something from the 1900s as well. It was a lovely bit. I mean, the kitchen was modernised, but this bell was left. It was amazing. It's really nice. So things like that, nice. That's good to keep.
Yeah. People want to see that history, the history of the area as well. So again, really important that not only the seller can share with us the story of the house and the area and the journey that they've been on while they've lived there, because it allows us to kind of pass that on, and people are interested in that, aren't they? But I think it's important as well for your agents as well to know the local area, what is going on, what is accessible, and what fun things that families can, and professional people and sporty people, you know, whatever their thing is, can actually enjoy from living there.
Oh, definitely, Perry. Yep, definitely. I think your agent needs to be well organised for going out as well, because if you go out, that person's relying on, the seller's relying on you giving that information because you're doing that job for them. So, and then the buyer needs that information. And not everybody has the same imagination as you and I might have about going into a property and envisaging how your furniture would look. So it's like taking them and walking them through that, isn't it? It's a journey, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, is 100%. And I have a client at the moment who, it's one of the ones I mentioned earlier about the fact that we're putting everything together now to get ready for the Christmas sale. And again, it's about us listening. You know, yes, we're the professionals. Yes, we understand how to promote and advertise and market. But actually, we need all that valuable information from the client. And the client actually has shared quite a bit of detail and suggestions for what they would like us to tell in regards to the story of the house. So again, it's making sure that you have that relationship where it's a collaboration really with your client as well. Yes, we're the professionals. It's a wee bit like Gordon Ramsay being at the pass. You know, nothing goes out without us kind of being happy with it. But we do welcome those suggestions because that does help us promote it in the best way that we can.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So, do you want to move in for summer 23? What do you think, Perry?
Well, I think if you live in Fife and you'd like to sell your home and you want to be moving by 2023 in the summer, we've just said at the opening of the discussions here that it's going to take you at least 3 to 4 months to do your conveyancing on average at the moment. So, you know, getting yourself ready to market is a couple of weeks. Finding yourself a buyer could maybe take 2 to 4 weeks, maybe longer. It's about making sure that actually you're ready to go to make that summer move happen. So if you would like some advice on that, then certainly feel free to reach out. You can message us here directly or contact any of the team separately through any of our social media channels or at the offices. And we'd be more than happy to help you. If you find anything useful in regards to what was said or you'd like us to cover it more, reach out. But all the links to the discussions that we've had are also going to be in the post today. So feel free to click on those and you'll get a bit more information in regards to how you could potentially do that. And Susan, thank you very much for the welcoming this morning and for looking very bright and smiley considering we had a Christmas night out last night.
Absolutely fine though. Us older ones behaved ourselves, didn't we?
We put the sensible hats on, didn't we? So anyway, thanks very much, Susan. Thank you very much, everyone out there who's been listening and watching. And reach out to us if you can and have a fabulous weekend. Stay safe in the icy roads, guys. Enjoy all the activities that are going on in Fife this weekend and take care. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.